if this did it properly. That's so funny. It said error going live, and then it went live. How weird is that? So I don't know what what it went live with. Oh, it did it properly. I'll be darned. It said that there was an error setting up the live, and then it worked anyhow. So we'll see. We'll see if it pushes this out to anybody. I do appreciate everybody tuning in. This will be a slightly different than what you're used to. But you know, we'll have to wait to see if we get anybody coming in. I'm just glad that it actually worked because it wasn't. It didn't show it as working. So very nice to see that it's working. Let me pull this up so I can at least see if anybody shows up. Good. Mrs. Stott, welcome, and I'm blessed to see you in here. Back to roots, the earth is flat. I can see it's going to be a very interesting discussion at that with everybody. Very interesting at that. Good afternoon and welcome back in XRP John Hall. So for anybody who doesn't know, and I'll just do this very simply, I'll introduce myself, and then we can do this a little different because you guys only usually know me on this little screen. And I'm always hidden behind the charts and things like that. So I wanted to do something different for the core members and for anybody who's just a fan of XRP and in general, a fan of what I do. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, aka Tom. I've been doing this for a very long time. On YouTube, I've been doing this since March 24th of 2021, and to this day, I've not missed a day of doing technical analysis, which I'm pretty proud of because the more dedication you can show with what you like to do, the more opportunity ends up becoming present. But I'm blessed to be here with all of you. Just to put it mildly, I'm blessed to be here with everybody. I'm proud of what we've developed, but now I think even deeper than that, maybe we could get into a little more of a discussion here. So with XRP, as we were talking about in the morning live, and I suppose I should just say you can ask questions. It doesn't have to be about crypto. You can talk about life. We can go into other things. I'm not here for the people that are going to be, the amount of viewers. I don't care if people come and go. I kind of just want to see if maybe we can expand this into something, post live to where we can get together for a couple of minutes or 20 or 30 minutes or whatever the case may be and kind of circulate here a little bit. So for reference point, it's Wednesday, January 7th, 2026 at 12:42 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as you know, I'm XRP Future Millionaire. What I see in the market right now, it's something that happens in every cycle. It's something that happens in every cycle, and you get the obvious leering from one commodity to the next or one facet of the market to the other. And for a very long time, the public's eye, as we all know, was on cryptocurrency. And during that time, there was a great opportunity to buy those mining stocks, get into your gold and silver and do things like that. But unfortunately, a lot of retail ignored those signals early on, and they found themselves maybe not chasing, but now they found themselves looking at, cryptocurrency in a different way, almost as if it's the biggest bearish thing in town now, and it'll never break out, which, yes, in the short term, we still have an issue. Because even if we're in the 5-wave Elliott wave, this can technically still just be a trap wave. And the other thing is we broke out of a descending broadening wedge. And technically that can bring us all the way down to $1.80, extend down to $1.68, depending on how long it took to hit it. One way to avoid that for XRP, and it's honest, one way to avoid that would be to be able to hold that the $2.10 area. You could expand it to $2.08. But you want to stay over that range. If you can stay over that range, it'll allow us the ability to keep this market pushing in the progressive up, at least for the short term. And maybe with the overall ability to invalidate what's going on. There's the squirrel back here. I put out a lot of food. Oh yeah, he's eating the food. There's tons of food out there. I know you can't see it. But yeah. So yeah, that's where we're at. And for silver, I have a conspiracy, and I tried to explain it in the other one. I tried to explain it the fact that would it be so against or would it be such a conspiracy that a lot of the smaller non-central banks or controlled banks would fail and they would allow this to kind of play out with all these put options, and it's just a weird dynamic. It's just a weird dynamic, but outside of that, just in general, I mean, obviously we had a weird time in our own society, so there's that. But we can talk deeper. Like, we can talk about Ripple supply. We can talk about how they're almost like the controlling arm, and you know they have the ability to fund what they need to fund via these escrow dumps and things like that. So the price manipulation is one thing, but remember, they get to dump every single month 1 billion tokens. They generally lock up about 700 million. So they've got a lot of collateral. They've got a lot of collateral to do what they need to do. The whole Ripple IPO thing, it's just speculation at this point. Monica Long keeps coming out saying they're not doing it. They're in a great a great area with capital and things like that. So they don't really need to expand the reserves. But yeah, when they're talking, they did give a shout out to XRP yesterday. I know on CNBC, I've seen that now a couple of times from people. I didn't see it. I don't try to watch like the news, but I definitely looked it up after, and I definitely seen what they said. Now that can be looked at as a good or bad thing. Like we're in the mainstream, which means that we're not hidden behind the doors. But you also want to get some exposure as well. But it's an interesting. We're definitely in the most interesting time. Somebody was like, flex. Well, I guess you can see a little bit better the muscle now because we're in this. But you know, there's been a lot of dedication to that too. I mean, I actually surprised myself when I looked, because it's winter time, so I'm usually dressed to where I don't even notice. But I definitely do stay dedicated, that's for sure. But if we're going through topics of discussion, like if we're talking about the news that's come out with XRP, Fabio in the house, I love it. I love it. I'll never get sick of some of this stuff. Let's see. So, there was one thing that I noticed with the IPOs. So, Ripple again rules out the IPO, and I just want to read through this just so you know, saying balance sheet gives it room to stay private. And this is something that I've been talking about for a while, and that's why I was talking about Ripple with how much their funds they need. The only reason to really do an IPO is if they want to gain further funding, but they don't need that further funding. So I don't really necessarily think they need an IPO at this time. Now, once we get more expansion and we get through like 2028, I think it's going to become a more and more dire pressing need as that happens. But so Ripple, it says Ripple again rules out IPO, saying balance sheet gives it room to stay private. The company raised $500 million in November 2025 at a valuation of $40 billion from investors such as Fortress Investment Group and Citadel. So just key points. Ripple has no plans to pursue an initial public offering, preferred to remain private as it expands through acquisitions and product development. We know the company raised $500 million in November of 2025, and the valuation was $40 million from Fortress Investment Group and the affiliate of Citadel Securities. And Ripple completed the acquisition in 2025, and that was about a $4 billion deal to enhance their digital asset infrastructure. So that was a big deal then. And I still think as long as they have all this capital, and they don't need to really do anything until they don't need to expand right now. There's the capital flows that's the story that's going around that I don't really know if I want to get into. But there's so basically the ETFs, think of it like a siphoning thing. So instead of all this money going into cryptocurrency, it's being siphoned off. And a perfect example was the Canary ETF on Monday. When crypto and XRP went up about 12-13%, the Canary Capital ETF was up 23% in the same time period. So now, it's now not just fostering the illusion, it's giving you now the ability to trade crypto without being in crypto. And that is a scary proposition. I gotta figure this out with this stupid camera. So I keep moving this. Probably more like this. But the camera it's in such a weird spot, as you can see. Whatever, this is fine. But you know, you do have that illusion that everybody thinks that, you know, we got to have this Ripple IPO, which I disagree. And I also think this is a countermeasure for Ripple through the XRP escrow dumps, to where they don't have to have any kind of capital raising. They can simply do it by the unlocking and relocking up of the escrow. I think it's a great idea. It's a great idea, to be honest. I think it's a good idea what they've done. And then in December of 28, we'll have to figure it out. Oh, it looks okay. Awesome. I was just making sure because it was showing on my screen on the right that it was kind of blocked up, and now it's not showing that anymore, which is great. I have no idea how this works with all the stuff. I know there's weird donating features and stuff on here, weird sharing, and I don't know. I've never done a vertical live on YouTube like this, so I just wanted to test out the settings and see how it was. I'm glad. Thank you, Mrs. Stott, and thank you for being in Tom's Army 3+ months with the XP Media, with MQ, and a bunch of you in here in Tom's Army. Aurelie, welcome in. I'm glad you're enjoying listening while you're getting through your work. But here's just what I want to talk about. I just want to pull up some of the info real quick. I think it'd be better if I can at least share you with the minute details. I know they're boring at that sometimes, but hey, it's the boring details that allow us to know that, you know, what's actually happening within all of this. So basically, Bitwise XRP ETF offers a competitive fee, strong liquidity, and is a viable vehicle for long-term XRP exposure and tax-advantaged accounts. So now, in these accounts that are essentially tax-deferred, you don't even have to worry about the initial tax hit you would take. You can start writing off of all of this in crypto. Or you can even write off in your account the amount exposed to it in certain cases. And obviously that everybody lives in different countries. The XRP's network activity and fee generation remains weak, with DAAs and total fees sharply down year over year. Questioning is so basically the valuation of 136 billion is under question because the network activity continues to go down, and that is being seen by a lack of fee creation by the network utilage. Despite robust stablecoin growth on the XRP ledger, the market share is minuscule and valuation multiples remain extremely high relative to blockchain peers. Now, when you talk about multiples, a lot of people say this gives you clear path and buoyancy to the fact that XRP's price is going to go up in multiples. We're going to get more of the lion's share. So if you multiply this and we end up getting more with the RUSD, but my argument is if all this money's in the stablecoin, that means nobody wants to put it in the regular token. So if it's in the stablecoin, by utilization, it can't be in the risk asset itself, which is XRP. So that's always been a weird correlation to me. Let's see. XRP ETF inflows were strong in 25, but the ETF structure risk, like limited trading hours, warrant careful consideration. So in the stablecoin market for XRP and the millions, you had the total market transfer of Q4, Q5 and stable coins was 10,200,000. The XRP trading volume for Q4 says it was $182, a 0.0018% market share, and 19.6 for then Q3, it's gone up a little bit. And then you're starting to see like year over year for XRP, the transfer is up like 491%. But it's not controlling a large amount, though. We're not controlling a large share is the only problem. So we're starting to grow, but we're not growing as fast as many of the proponents thought we were going to in that regard. Binance is continuing to be a big problem. I know if some of you have gone through the news from yesterday. This was a news article yesterday. But the liquidation storm that hits Binance, is this another joke with Binance, or is this something deeper? You know, just the liquidity going out of control. But I would prefer to skip that because there was other news about the Ripple National Bank charter, which I think is the news of the day. And then I'm going to go back into the comments because I don't want to keep reading all of this because it gets boring. But the charter of the National Bank of Ripple is near its end. By January 2027, the institutional projections and adoption and utility could push, and the demand is that it would push it to $10 to $14 because of growing expansion. But the quest by Ripple to be a national bank has reached the last stage. The relocation has the potential to redefine the XRP direction over the next few years. And this is something where you're still playing ahead of this. If this thing comes to light, and we are actually getting approval and things like that. So I think it's important. So what's being reported is that the application of Ripple has reached an advanced state. This process started in July of 2025 and was conditionally approved at the end of last month in December. So the analysts reviewed the documents of the filings, confirmed Ripple opted to have federal oversight as opposed to state-level licensing. This ruling permits it to operate under a single U.S. rule, and the federal banking status would unlock new XRP utility. So the entity is called Ripple National Trust Bank, if you're interested in looking deeper in it. They specialize in the custody and fiduciary services. They obtained the status of Federal Reserve membership for the bank. They have membership in the Federal Reserve. This affiliation is to the U.S. financial infrastructure. Suggested site is 111-119 West 19th Street in New York. It was reported that the process cannot be derailed by opposition any longer. This charter places Ripple under federal banking laws. XRP is trading, and it was at 238 when this came out. So it shows you that this was first talked about a day or so ago. But it's still being this big news today. And then, with the AI and stuff, they always do projections. But all I care about is if this charter, that this continues on, because then they kind of think about it. The whole point that we were talking about, and I think this is pretty genius, that kind of gets overlooked. We talked about for years that once this happened, that Ripple would become the liquidity hub for banks, the central banks. Well, if Ripple has its own bank, XRP becomes its own liquidity. Think about it. The Ripple stablecoin being there will add viability in almost like a stablecoin sense, like it is. But it kind of changes the game a little bit in a good way. This will change the game even more. So, this would throw a wrench in things because of how quickly this has happened. So I think this is actually a good thing. Ripple also bought a company that measures compliance. Ooh, this is good. Let me get the name exactly. Ripple acquires company. Get this really quickly. Let's see. Does anybody have the name of that out of curiosity? See, this is why it's good to have a nice discussion. So, Ripple's subsidiary, G Treasury, recently acquired Solvexia. That's what you're talking about. And to enhance, and this was in early this month, so just in the past couple of days, to enhance reconciliation and compliance tools for finance terms, following Ripple's broader strategy of buying firms like crypto wallet provider Palisade, November of 2025, and acquiring regulatory licenses to build out its enterprise, blockchain and digital asset infrastructure for corporate finance. Key compliances. So it says Solvexia, acquired by G Treasury, a Ripple company, to add data-driven reconciliation and compliance software, improving regulatory reporting for treasury and finance. The Palisade, from November of 25, a crypto wallet and custody firm purchased to boost Ripple's institutional custody and payment offerings and with faster, scalable wallet tech. And the Standard Custody and Trust from February of 2024 was acquired to strengthen Ripple's regulatory licenses and expand the digital asset custody services, which is being expanded now as we speak. So it all played in. And then for Ripple's strategy, Ripple is aggressively expanding its enterprise offering, focusing on integrating digital assets with traditional finance through acquisitions that provide custody, wallet technology, and critical compliance features for corporate clients. So, that's big stuff. That is big stuff, honestly, with Solvexia. That when you're talking about compliance, this is all happening for a reason. Let's see. Anybody else have anything? I think that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yes, the banks are buying it directly from Ripple. And we know this for a fact because back in 2022 and 3, when we were going through the nuts and bolts of the lawsuit with Ripple, we do know this because it had a redacted part, which was very disturbing to me and very upsetting. But it showed that retail was buying at one price and institutions at another. And the only thing they redacted was the two prices. But they allowed us to see that they were being paid in two different ways, which was very disturbing and disheartening for me personally. Because once I realized that, and it was conclusive, we always speculated on it, but once they showed us it through the actual the official documents of the lawsuit, we knew for a fact that it actually played a much different role. But guess what? That price is still being driven somewhere. So when they go to sell it, it's being sold on the open market. So it's kind of like a catch-22. Yes, their own blockchain, one for us and one for them. That is absolutely categorically correct. That's the proper way to assume. We have one infrastructure for us, which is the exchanges, some of the ledgers and the wallets and ones that have viability. And there's a completely other entity for the ones who are actually in charge, so to say, that are buying it from institutions. The lawsuit was 100% a fake, but there was still information within. The lawsuit, in my opinion, was to hold the price down for a little bit longer, not for institutional purposes, but it fostered an illusion, and it allowed things to be done a little bit more close to the vest, The pricing was a little more similar back then. The pricing became a problem during the big expansive run in 2018 is when everybody was getting pissed. Because now you got institutions that even when they bought it then, maybe they were buying it at 30 cents even when it went all the way up. Those crazy numbers at $3.60 in 2017 and 18. And then they didn't have to worry about that big oversell. They were able to buy it cheap, sell it within the cycle formation, and then they were able to bring it back down. So yeah, it's a big different game when it comes to retail and when it comes to us. We're retail, but when it comes to institutions, it's a big thing. There's been speculation about Ripple working with IOTA. Absolutely. The cool thing about this is I can go back up to the messages too. Let's see. Michael, what did you say? I'm sorry, they were coming in so quick and I was reading something. Dad, I don't know if I've seen yours. Let's see if I can find yours. Michael, let's see. Where is Michael? Michael. Annie, welcome in, and thanks for being in town zone for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Do you think we will see some price movement to the upside that holds? If we can hold at a minimum of $2.10, we will go back to the upturn. That's our minimum requirement. If you want to hold fire to me and say, is 208 okay? Sure. But anything short of that, we're definitely going on the downturn to a minimum of 199.8 to try to test likely that the FVG from last Friday. But there's no guarantee that we're just going to rotate down. I mean, I can't see the chart, so I'm not sure what it's saying right now. Oh, look at silver lost $78 since we switched. I did not know that. Nobody said anything. The closer we get to 77, oh man, gold's getting close to 4,440 as well. The closer they get, and when the U.S. dollar looks like it's on an upturn, whether it's a fake out or not, it looks like we put in some bottoming. We have an inverse head and shoulders on the DXY and the day. Oh my God, that's pretty beautiful actually. Huh. If the U.S. dollar pushes past 98.91, this inverse pattern will play out, and we could get a sucker's last chance for not a sucker's, but a last chance attempt, call it a coup de grace by our own government to make it look more valuable. We could in fact make a run back up to 102 if this played out properly. I'm not even joking. And that would be this right arm confirmed. Oh my goodness. This is insane. Am I looking at the right one? This has got to reload. It is the right one. I'll be damned. And you guys can't see this. Maybe you can, but it's backwards. It's an inverse pattern. That's on the DXY. And no, it's not like this. That's what gold and silver looks like right now, right? This is what the DXY looks like. So remember, the gold and silver price never goes up or down. The US dollar just depreciates or appreciates. And right now we're in an expansion phase in the US dollar. I think we're getting into trap central for the gold. And I'm telling you, cash on hand to buy these opportunities if we have a historic drop. They've never been trying harder to get us to lock up our money. And I'm not saying it's a bad idea to buy a silver bar. at $78. But what I am saying, it was a better idea to buy it at 25. And right now, I believe it's better to have cash on hand for these historic opportunities that are coming than to lock it all up in a silver bar at this exact moment. And I could be completely wrong. But we'll see how this plays out with the DXY, because that is in a very intriguing moment. I appreciate 93 of you being here. I really didn't think anybody would be here in the vertical. If you could hit that like button, we only got about 1/3 of you hitting that like button. If you hit that like button, it'll surely share this a lot easier. There hasn't been any donations or anything, so I don't know what the features look like. I know there's features. I don't know what they look like until somebody in the future, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe next month, if I do this religiously, somebody will find it in their heart to send a YouTube super chat or something. And then I'll be able to see what this whole thing is about. But right now, I can't really see anything except that. But I need to see this comment. Mission. I said before the falling wedge back test at $1.80. What do you think? Yeah, I commented on it, actually. Michelle. Or, I mean, Michael, not Michelle. Michael, I commented on that before. I talked about, yes, the falling wedge absolutely can hit around $1.80. And then it can extend down all the way to $1.68 if it hit it long enough farther back. But $1.80 would be the opportune spot. It would also be the third tap on that structural support. Well, actually, no, it would need to be $1.68 for the third tap. So that's why that would make sense too. But yeah, it can start at $1.80. I absolutely agree with that, with the falling wedge that we broke out of. And that's across the board. That's why, to me, Michael, it's important to hold $2.10. Because if we can hold $2.10, we can avoid a lot of the further downside and still have the expansion wave 4. Because we really don't, I mean, if it falls out now, you could just say we're still corrective. But we did have a little expansion out, so it's not like we didn't. We just didn't come up as high as the full potential was. So there's definitely ways to look at this. Oh, wait a minute. I have to look at this on here because somebody just... What does this say? Mrs. Stott sent one future XRP Future Millionaire gift sub. Wow, thank you so much for that, Mrs. Stott. That's very generous. I really appreciate that. Also in Tom's only 3+ months with the XP Meteor, and look who got it. It went to Nick. Look how perfect that is. How perfect is that? The gifted sub went to Nick. That is the coolest thing. That is the coolest thing. Nick, congratulations on getting that gifted sub. He does a lot of work in here. A lot of work. Wow. Quick question, honest one. How much do I need to be good in 5 years, brother? Please be honest and realistic. Please and thank you. That's a loaded question, my friend. I was always under the impression with XRP that if you could have 10,000 tokens in that bear market, you were golden. And it was about a $3,000 investment back then. And I understand right now it's much higher. So that's a very tricky question. I don't know the answer to that right now. I am still under the belief 10,000 tokens is more than enough. And I'm not saying it's going to make you $10 million, but if you put, at the time, if it was 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, and in time, that can turn anywhere between, in a guaranteed state. We know it's going to turn in at some point here to 50 to 65,000 based on just the structure setup from the volatile breakout. And we could go way down before that happens still. But that is my expectation in the short term. Now, what I think can happen, oh, it shows you the donations on the top. It actually tells me somebody donated $2.69 US, but in their currency it was $1.99. My yard, now look at it, it even does the conversion. Wow. Unless somebody else did another one too, I don't know. Nice. I like how it shows that. And there's a whole bunch of different gifts too, which are interesting. You don't just have to do a super chat on here. Forget the super chat. Look at the gift spot. If you want to send something on the verticals, don't send a super chat. Send this other stuff. There's like cool stuff. There's just gifts. It makes it cool on the screen, supposedly. I'll never know. It'll show it on what I'm watching, what you're all watching me on. But yeah, Nick, very trusted mod in here and in the Telegram. He got a gifted sub. That's unbelievable the way it worked out today. I love it so much. I love it so much. I know it seems foreign as hell. It really does. Mark Korf, thanks for the $1.99 super chat. Really appreciate the pay it forward mentality. Still waiting for the first gift. to see what it looks like. If anybody decides to do that, I don't know if you will. I appreciate the pay it forward mentality either way. Believe me, it goes a long way into what I need to do. Furby trades. What did Mrs. Stott say? Nick. Oh, I love it so much that it went to Nick. I can't even describe how perfect that was. And Nick, welcome in, and we thank you for all your work you do in the community. It's tireless. This guy's a tireless worker. Him, Scotty Trades, which is MQT in here. Hey, there we go. It just sent it across my screen. It said 100 something. I'm still getting used to this format. It sent it right across the screen. What was that? It said 100 something. Let's see. How do I know what it was? We're still trying to figure this out. That's why I needed to see it. It showed it go across my screen 100 something. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyhow, it's always interesting to be on a new, have you seen 100 somethings go across there? Could you tell me? So I know. It's so foreign, this is so different. The Cannabis Podcast, welcome in, and thanks for being in town during 6+ months of the XRP Predictor. Your content yesterday was fantastic. I tried to share it. I don't know if anybody followed because of it, but it was beautiful content. Hopefully some of you went and followed. He just had great content, and I was like, I need to share this. Anyhow, what else? I don't see why we can't go higher. We have had multiple confirmation tests of support, and the ETFs are playing a huge role in ensuring the price stabilizes. No, yeah, that's why if we can hold this price level, that's why it's so important right now for XRP to hold at least at $2.10, which we've got plenty of room with this. We got plenty of room, okay? We've got so much room. That's why when I came on in my regular live, I said, I am not bearish right now. I'm not overtly bearish. I think we're doing exactly what we need to do to back test, not just to further move down if we have to, but to validate even a move up. What does that say? It says 1. I don't know what that means. It says 1 in the top corner. How do I see what this says? I'm sorry. There's no instruction. It just says 1. I'm assuming that's 1 what? Gift? I would imagine. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what it means. Doesn't tell me anything. I'm going to figure this out myself. Top chat, super chat, all chat. I want all chat. All messages. Yeah, there we go. What am I talking about? I don't know. It shows I'm in the... You guys can't see it. It's on the top right of my screen. It shows... Yeah, see, somebody just sent a gift. It shows someone just sent a gift, but I need to know how to see it. Because it's happened twice now, but it's not actually showing me the gift. Yeah, which is weird. I can't... Let me go onto my phone and see if it pops up. Because I'm on my other tablet. Let me just do it from my own phone and see because it's me. Because I really want to make sure I say thank you to everybody for sending something. Because it's showing the super chats and stuff, but it is not. Let's see. Let me go into my... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's not showing me. I'm going to have to mess with this because I would have thought it would have showed me, it would have showed me that stuff. Like on TikTok when I used to go live, it would send it across the screen. But yeah, it says it when somebody sends it. But how am I supposed to say thank you to everybody if I don't know what it was? That's the problem. Let's see, gift. I don't want to send it to myself. I just want to see what everybody else sends. Anyhow, I guess not much I can do about that until I can, I guess there's got to be a way to see this. What are you going to do? Thank you, everybody who tried to send something. I don't know why it's not actually showing me. Give show and chat feed. The Cannabis Podcast got a bunch of new followers. I love it. I'm glad you got a bunch of followers. You are welcome, my friend. I'm glad it actually helped. Gift show in the chat feed. Yeah, I see some stuff showing up. It's showing me like super chats. It's showing me like the gifted sub, but it's not showing me the actual gifts because it shows 44 gifts were like 44 things that were gifts were sent. I just can't possibly see them. On yours, it shows the gift box on the left side. Yeah, it's not showing that on my left side. Wonder why that is. Interesting. I get it. The first thing I thought I sent was me actually buying jewels to be able to send it. Oh. But some it said they sent like 45 of something's been sent. And I would love to be able to say, hey, thank you so much for this. I really would. I'm trying to look at all this stuff I have. At least 1 minute of your video is needed. I don't want that. Excuse me, but it doesn't show anything what you're talking about. I'm just interested. Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. Also, it auto cap confidence, so that's official now. I love it. Don't worry. I'll figure this out at some point to get this to so I can see exactly what's going on. Just sent it. Sent 100. It says right here. Just sent it. Sent 100. Mrs. G. I figured it out. Sent a party hat. Awesome. Mrs. G sent a party hat. Just sent it. Sent 67. 67. So funny. That is awesome. At least I can see it now. Just sent it. Sent 100. Oh, that is awesome. Oh, they still have a lot of work to do because on TikTok it would have showed it pop up on top of me or something. That is so cool. Thank you guys for sending that stuff. I appreciate that. I get a kick out of this stuff. I get a kick. Was going to buy some oil stock, but after the show I'll be waiting for the dip. Yeah, I mean, there's no guarantee, and I understand that dynamic because I really want to as well. And I'm looking to see if we do dip in those other sectors because, don't forget about mining stocks. And I have no doubt in my mind that they're about to drop the hammer in some way. Silver's down to 77.48 right now. The miners are teeking down a little bit more from when we were live, another % or so. Gold's at 4,448, getting close to that 44.40 level. If it breaks that, that's a bearish signal. And then you have to start looking at that 4,325, maybe extend down to 4,200 zone. So yeah, we definitely need to pay attention to this. But I like to look for it as opportunity. I'm not looking at this as a bad thing, everybody. I'm not looking at it as a bad thing. Hey, Eddie, thanks for saying hi, friend. I'm looking at this as a overall market possibility. I'm looking at this as a universal opportunity. It's a little bit refreshing not having to just stare at the chart the whole time. I know not as many people will be interested, but hell, 83 people, even while we were trying to figure that whole thing out. It's kind of cool. Honestly. After having an hour and 20, 25, 30 minutes in the other live and then being able to do this. So, like I say, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I feel very blessed to have this community. Now, if we want to talk a little bit more about the cycle, I was considering winning Wednesdays this week with XDC. The only thing that holds me up a little bit, I'm glad you brought up XDC. And it's down to the 501 support, but it has not back tested yet. And it might not come all the way down because XDC, it's got to finish this drop, but that back test to me is somewhere around 4.6 cents. So I think that would be a more viable area to be buying if you're not in. But again, I mean, I would be using this time to try to figure out if we're in that accumulation zone and we're actually in that buying structure. Because there's the caveat here that we are absolutely getting into that dynamic. I'm just saying. We're getting into that. We're oversold in the weeklies. I mean, in the monthlies and crypto. And it's pretty fascinating how a lot of people were so interested when the RSI, the stochastic, was so overbought in the monthlies. And now the monthlies are in a spot where even the weeklies before this recent reversal up, some of them have ticked out a little bit, but still so oversold and so undervalued. But such just a lot of optics in front of us in cryptocurrency. Being a risk asset right now is not an easy place to be, for a market. It's not. But oftentimes with great disparity, with great distress, with great, with a lot of blood, oftentimes these are the most opportune times. It's the same thing that I was talking about with commodities back in mining and stuff like that back in 24. There's in January of 25. They're so undervalued that it seems like the right time. So now I'm looking at like B2 Gold. If it does get a rotation back down to 335, that's barely any drop. It started at like $2.20. It hasn't had a huge push up. But if it did rotate back down and it cleared out and it got some of the heavy hands out at 235, you better believe or 335, I mean. Hey, CJ2 Pilot, thanks for sending the thumbs up. Appreciate that. Sent happy poop, the clutch. Happy poop, the clutch, and a thumbs up. Thank you, CJ2 Pilot. That is very generous of you, my friend. Very generous. Very generous this community is. XRP's not going to 10K. Like, I don't sugarcoat it. I never thought it was going to 10K. I'm just excited about the move, the first move from $10 to $20. Which I my gut, my heart says that's going to at least happen to that standpoint. But I don't believe we're going all the way up to those facades. I really don't. That's not on my radar. If it does go up there, by all means, am I going to be a very, very happy man? But it's not happening. It can't happen. It's not even viable to happen. It's not viable. If Bitcoin can, so can XRP 1 year. Yeah, there's just a fundamental difference. 25 million tokens for Bitcoin. 100 billion tokens for XRP. It's a little bit, it's not an apples to apples. Now, if you ask me if it can get closer to Bitcoin in market cap, that's a whole different discussion. It's a whole different discussion. A nice thing would be if Bitcoin did end up going up and they made it this big Ponzi scheme like it is, and then it just kept siphoning and siphoning up. That could be a very enriching experience for all of us. Let's just put it how it is. Anything else? I gotta go eat. I'm getting angry. I haven't ate since 8 p.m. last night. I fast 16 hours a day. I've been in this working out and doing that stuff for 3 years. I mean, it's showing now. I'm very happy with the muscle gain. Like, I've never had this much muscle. But I won't take roids, so it's gonna be a very slow process. So, it's gotta be clean. I mean, I can't exactly just take out a chart and show you. I mean, I can speak of what's going on with IOTA. Like, if you want to know the areas. Flexing on you again, Josh Jolly. Indeed, and thank you for being in Tom's Army, my good friend. For 3 months plus with the XRP Meteor. I really appreciate that. So very much. But IOTA's down 4.44% on the day. Let's just see what I want to see what the current flow is. I know what it looked like before I came on and started doing this 45 minutes ago, but things move very quickly in this market. Very, very quickly. I guess Julie was right. I don't have any bald spots starting yet. I'd be able to see it in this live because I'm looking at myself on the screen. I always wondered if I would by this age because my dad's bald back here and up here. My brother's balding back here and up here. Apparently I'm going to get lucky. My big brain is taking over, so, that's going to happen. Hey, Poppy Lou. Look at it, popped up. See the trophy on the front? That's what I'm talking about. It's working. Now it's working. The trophy, thank you for sending the GOAT trophy. I actually seen it. That's what I was saying. They do it on the bottom. I caught it finally when I wasn't reading. Thank you so much for that. That's an inspiring trophy. That's like a... Whoa. That's 1,000. That's 1,000 to do that one. Whoa. I don't know if it's like, I don't know how much that cost you. Wow. That was a very generous donation. That is not getting overlooked by me at all. Very generous indeed. Wow. Thank you so much. That's incredible. Poppy Lou, thank you for sending the GOAT trophy. That was over $10. It's like 10 or 12, it's like 11 or $12. That's unbelievable. Thank you so much. So, can I ask you guys a question before I talk about IOTA? Do you find value in me coming on like this after the actual live? And I know this has been an extended time, and it's been over 2 hours of screen time for all of us. But I think there's value in here. I think there's value in here to be able to talk like this instead of just being on a live. I love this. We're almost talking more like people now. The only thing I can't see is you on the other side besides your names. But yeah, this is really nice. So just with IOTA real quick, because then I'm going to have to go, because me and Julie have to do stuff before we pick up our son. But IOTA, in the weeklies on a weekly reversal candle, now is it going to be validated or not? What we really want to see is IOTA keep above about that 10.3 cents. That 10.3 cents. And then start pushing back up. Because right now we're at a nice support structure. If you expand it across, it's another bottoming phase. And that's actually, you know what? Let's not cut it off at the hip, actually. Let's not cut this off. It actually could hold 9.4 cents and I'd still be happy. But 10.3 in the short term if we don't want it to go back farther. Do I watch blockchain back? No, not particularly, but I'm not going to hate on anybody in 2026, to be honest. Everybody does their own valuable service for the audience base that is watching them for any given reason, whether or not it's accurate or not. But, you know, the overall 5-wave, if we go back to the beginning of time, like if you go back to the beginning of time, I don't know if I necessarily agree. I mean, you can break up these into different 5-wave cycles. Do you think IOTA goes to $10 next hard run up? Probably not that high. I'd be worrying more about IOTA getting back into that 75 and 80 cents really strategically placed area, because the buyers in the past seem to like that area to stop in big time. And I know it's a big push from here, which is the opportunity phase. But IOTA, I mean, in time, I definitely have high projections. I know I have it going up over $10 in its history, if it all plays out like it should, but that could take a long time. Could take a long time. This is way better than Telegram for you. Yeah, I like this a lot. I like this setup, but, you know, all good things come to an end, so I'm going to have to go, everybody. It's almost 1:30. But it's been a pleasure. It's been a blessing. And, you know, I'm going to give the vertical thing a try every day after my lives, whether it ends up being 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Today's been 48 minutes because you just never know. I definitely like this. It gives me another way to do what I do in a different way, so I'm not just you know, looking at the screen. I kind of like looking at everybody, you know, looking at the comments and trying to talk this out. Really do. Oil is down 1.82% on the day, falls under $56 a barrel. Stay patient. Northern Oil and Gas, the one who called or messaged and said that he was going to buy oil this morning, but after my update, he said he was waiting for the oil exploration company's good decision. Northern Oil and Gas is now down 3.5%. It had a small gain this morning when I was live. And Murphy's Oil is now down 3.03%. As now West Texas Intermediate is at 55.9 per barrel. Rotating down. Platinum's down 7.2% today. $173 down, or at $2,234. Gold's down $40, but at $4,454. Down just about 0.9%. Mining stocks getting hit a little bit. We've got silver down 4.1%, right around $77.70. In a very, very dangerous and tricky area right now. If it comes down below $77, there's that very real chance that we're going to start hunting to go down to $66. Just, I keep giving out that warning, and I love silver more than most. But just make sure if we do end up on the downslope, if we do come below 77, it's a problem. This morning we had a low of 76.29, so that would be your confirmation that things are going in the wrong direction. All right, so be blessed, everybody. XRP will not make you a millionaire. Oh, but won't it if you do it properly? I'm not saying you just have to have XRP for all eternity, but if you start to take XRP from one cycle, it goes up. You sell out when the cycle's over. You reinvest to get your same XRP tokens back, but now you've got X amount of dollars overhead. Then you move that into different sectors. You start locking it up in precious metals. You start buying the miners in the right time. You start putting it into your future for your mutual funds for the, $7,500 a year tax write-off as it is this year for the traditional IRA. We start expanding it into 401ks. If we have to, because that might be what I do this year. It's up to like $23,000 you can put in to write off your bottom line. So I mean, it's something. It's something. You'd rather just put your money in gold and Bitcoin. Hey, to each their own. I'm not going to judge anybody who wants to do that. But I just see more value in XRP personally from where we bought. So, there's been a lot of different buy and sells we've had through different cycles. But I'm pretty comfortable, with where we're at. I just don't like Bitcoin. It's a big Ponzi scheme. They're all Ponzi schemes. I get that. But I don't like it. I don't like Bitcoin. I just never have. It rubs me the wrong way. But obviously, if you do it right, it doesn't matter if you're in Bitcoin, XRP, whatever token. If you're buying it, because it's not about time in market, it's about timing. If you time it properly, we're gonna make the same on pretty much all of them anyhow. Not on Bitcoin now, because for Bitcoin to 1x, we've got to get all the way up. But it's the same thing with XRP now. To 1x, we've got to go up so much. There's a lot more opportunity when we bottom out with Algo and IOTA, with our XXX HA plan, XLM, XDC, HBAR, Algo. A lot more opportunity for those prices to go up 100, 200, 300, 500% in the same time if XRP moves 100%. It's just reality. It's just the way it is because of how much market cap now we're going to have to move. But yeah, Adam, God bless you as well. I don't hate the strategy though. Buying gold and Bitcoin, and then you obviously you're probably a cycle person. I'm looking more into Canton, the token, and there's some good to it. If we were to get a market flush and actually reverse more, I would take a harder look into it, if I'm being honest. I don't hate it though. I don't hate it. So thanks everybody. I got to call it a day here. It's been a blessing with all of you. Thank you all.